Exploit. Hackers attack. Warning. Warning.
What's up YouTube, Zero Exploit here, bringing you another tryhackme video. So in today's video, we're going to be hacking Alfred. Alfred has a vulnerable Jenkins server that's running on port 8080. Jenkins is an open source automation server written in Java. It automates the non-human part of software development. So in this video, we'll be exploiting Jenkins using a Powershell script to gain a shell. And by exploiting Windows Authentication Token, we should be able to escalate our privileges as admin. Windows Authentication Tokens are generated once a user has authenticated to a Windows system, like, for example, logging in. Now, once the user logs in, credentials are generated. They are given an access credentials that encode their particular permissions on the system. When a user launches an application, a copy of their access token is given to that application as well. This ensures that processes or threads running by a user are limited to the same permissions as the user. The intention of access token manipulation is to grant a malicious user the same permissions as a legitimate user and to pretend to be a process started by that user. By doing this, it will increase the capabilities of the malicious process or reduce its probability of detection. Now, the goal here is to access token manipulation by changing the permissions of a particular application. By associating it with the access token of another user, there are three main applications of this: granting an application system permissions, attributing a process to another user, and gaining access to a user's account on a remote system. Now, getting the token can be kind of tricky at times. So if a hacker wants to perform access token manipulation, the first thing that he or she would need is the token of the target account. This can be accomplished either by logging in as the user or by stealing the token. Logging in as the user is the easiest option if the credentials of the target account are known. This technique is useful if an attacker has stolen a user's password and wants to attribute malicious activities to another account to avoid detection. However, it is of limited use for privilege escalation. Now, token stealing involves copying the token used by the process of the target's account. This technique is more flexible, but however, it requires administrator permissions to perform it. The most common use is to escalate administrator privileges to the system level on Windows. Token stealing is performed using the duplicate token API call on Windows. So from what I've read, there are two types of access tokens. You have the primary access token and the impersonation token. The primary access token generates once a user logs in. The impersonation token allows a particular process gain access to resources using the token of another process, rather if it's a client or another user. So for a impersonation token, there are several different levels. The first one will be security anonymous, which is the current user or client cannot impersonate another user or client. And then there is the security identification, which a current user or client can get the identity and privileges of the client, but won't be able to impersonate the client, if you know what I mean. The third one is security impersonation, when a user or client can impersonate the client's security context on the local machine. And the last one is security delegation, which a user or client can impersonate the client's security context on a remote system. Now, I've already done this box, and believe me, I had kind of a hard time at first. because I really haven't messed with access token manipulation or impersonation before. So I actually learned a new technique, and I've heard of it, but I really haven't messed with it. Okay. And the reason why I'm doing this box right now, or this room, is because I'm actually studying for my OSCP, and I heard I'm going to have to be doing some of these impersonation access tokens on it. So, but this is what I mean when I said before on one of my other videos that, no matter how much experience you guys have in cybersecurity, we're all still students, you know what I mean? Like, we're all still learning. And I had to do a lot of researching and Googling and took a lot of notes so I can be able to remember and understand how the Windows authentication token works and how they can be exploited. So let's get started. Okay, we'll go through the tasks one by one and reach each step along the way so we can achieve our goal by rooting the machine. Now, I will be pausing the video every so often because the internet here at this hotel is really slow. And so if you notice that it's a little skip at times, it's because I'm pausing the video because it's taking too long to load up or do an nmap scan or whatnot. So let's get started. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is we want to connect to the tryhackme network. So make sure that you have your VPN up and running. I got mine up and running right now. Okay. And first thing you want to do is you want to go either on activities or the dashboard and look for Alfred. I'm pretty sure there's a search engine inside it to be able to search for this box. Okay. Once you find it, first thing you want to do is join the room, which will be a little green tab on the right side right here that says join room. Click on that. After you do that, then hit the deploy button, and that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to hit that deploy button, get this machine up and running, get us an IP. Now, there's something else you need to know. Once you deploy this machine and you get your IP, you want to wait like a minute or two. All right. Now, the thing about this machine is you can't do it won't respond to pings. So you got to make sure when you do your nmap scan, or if you use ping at all, ping will not work on this machine. So for example, since we get the IP right here, because sometimes when I start these machines, I like to use ping. I'm gonna make this screen a little bit bigger for people who are on phones. So if I type in ping and then the IP, let's get that out of the way. You'll notice it doesn't pick it up. It's not gonna communicate to it. So it must be a firewall thing. Okay, so let's go ahead and clear that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and let's clean this up real quick. All right, let's go ahead and put it in the IP right here. All right, and then while that's loading up, let's go ahead and read this beginning part of this task. So in this room, we'll learn how to exploit a common misconfiguration on a widely used automated server, Jenkins. This tool is used to create continuous development pipelines that allow developers to automatically deploy their code once they made change to it. After which, we'll use an interesting privilege escalation method to get full system access. Since this is a Windows application, we'll be using Nishang to gain initial access. The repository contains a useful set of scripts for initial access, enumeration, and privilege escalation, but in this case, we'll be using the reverse shell scripts. So let's go ahead and go here. I've already downloaded it, but I'm going to go ahead and let this pop up real quick and show you which script we're going to be using. So please note that this machine does not respond to pings, ICMPs, and may take a few minutes to boot up. So we'll go ahead and let that work. work its magic. So while this is all loading up right now, let's go ahead and get our nmap scan. Okay. So this is the PowerShell script that we're going to be using. And these are just notes that I took from when I did the box earlier. I decided to copy and put the same notes right here, but we won't be needing them for this box in this video. So anyways, let's go ahead and do our nmap scan. So we're going to do nmap tag uppercase P for N for no P, tag SC, tag SV, tag OA for enumerating all formats, I believe, output all formats. All right, and then we're going to call this nmap slash init scan, and then put the DIP. But I'm going to show you guys a trick though. Okay, so before we do this, I'm going to go ahead and just copy this real quick. Did you know that you can export your IPs? So watch this. So in case you don't want to always have to type in the IP, there's a little trick I want to show you guys. So if you type in export, and I learned this from another YouTuber, John Hammond, who's an awesome YouTuber. I suggest you guys go and watch his videos. Guy's awesome. I've learned quite a bit of new tricks off from this guy. And so you put export, and then IP equals, and then your IP. Oops, sorry. Okay, so our IP is 1010 to, no, not our IP, but the IP of the server. I don't know. It's late right now. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. All right, so 1010 238. So 1010 238 dot, what else? 218. 218. All right, so now when we do run that nmap, we can actually just type in $sign IP, and that's it. So we'll go ahead and let this run. I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video, and once it's done, we'll get back to it. All right, guys, we're back. The nmap scan finally is finished, and we have port 80 running Microsoft, port 3389, and port 8080 running a Jetty 9.4.z snapshot, which is the Jenkins server. So let's go ahead and see what we have to do on our first task. So how many ports are open? So we already know the answer to that. There's 3 total. Okay. So while that's doing that, let's go check out the website. Rest in peace, Bruce Wayne. Now, when I first came to this part of the website, when I entered the IP address and came to this part and saw this, it was kind of confusing at first because there's nothing else, it's just a picture, you know. So I went and did inspect element, not inspect element, view source page, and wasn't really anything interesting here. And during the time that I was, you know, trying to figure out what the hell this is and what the next move was going to be, I was already in the process of running the nmap scan, and it was taking a while. So I pretty much ran a just a quick, you know, port scan, and ended up getting the which ports were open, which was port 80 and what was the other one? 3389 and then 8080. And I saw that 8080, figured it was another server, so I went to that. Okay, went to port 8080, and then noticed that it was a login screen. when I noticed it was a login screen, I figured, okay, it says welcome to Jenkins. Now I needed to get a username and password. So, the first thing I did is, I went back to inspect element and see if there was some sort of cookie or something that I had to, forge or whatever. And I looked at the cookie and, did a little base 64 to note it was using Node. You know what I mean? Which was kind of confusing at first. And I went and did a little Google about cookies with Node in it. And didn't, find anything interesting or anything with that. So first thing I did was I went on Google and I just typed in Jenkins default passwords. Oh no, wait. Default admin password. Once that came up, I found out that the default password was just regular admin. So that was the first one that I tried, which was admin. And then keep me sign in and just don't save and realize that was it. So as soon as I got in, I was, a little confused like on what to do. So then I just went back to tryhackme and figure out what the next task was. So it says, what is the username and password for the login panel? And then I just type in admin. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next. Admin. Okay, let that go through, and then as you can see, we're in. Now, when I got here, I've never, like I said before, never messed with Jenkins at all, so really didn't know how I was supposed to get command code execution on here in some way. So I went and just pretty much went through all of this right here. Couldn't really find anything, and then I just seen this project, and I just clicked on the project. Okay. As soon as I clicked on it and went to the page, I just scrolled through a bunch of stuff. So while that was loading up, I just continued to, do this right here. So the third task is find a future, which is funny because that's what I was looking for before I even saw that. So find a feature of the tool that allows you to execute command on the underlying system. When you find this feature, you can use this command to get the reverse shell on your machine and then run it by using this Powershell, little Powershell script right here. So I already have this written out, already set up on one of my cheat sheets that I'm working on right now for all the tryhackme boxes. Okay, so while that's there, we're going to go ahead and copy that cheat sheet. So I'm going to copy. All right, it's in my documents. Cheat sheet here. All right. So PowerShell command to download file and execute program. We're going to be using this Metasploit command right here to pretty much get a second shell after we get our first shell. So we can be able to use Metasploit. Okay, so this PowerShell script right here is going to download a file from my server, which is I killed Batman. That's what I'm going to call it. And then when it's running in while running in PowerShell, that's what it should say. While running in PowerShell, after the malicious file is uploaded, you can start it by typing start process and then the malicious file name, which will be I killed Batman. .exe. Okay, so that one right this one right here should actually be on the bottom. All right, so this is the PowerShell script or command that we're going to run to upload where is it? Right here it is, the Invoke PowerShell TCP script. Now, where you can download that script is on the GitHub repository, which is this one right here. So just go ahead and Google Nishang, GitHub Nishang, and look for username Samara Tosh. Oh, I can't pronounce that. And just literally just download this whole thing. Okay. And the script that you want is going to be inside shells. Okay. And it's called Invoke PowerShell TCP.ps1, which is this one right here. Okay. And just copy it and put it in whatever directory you're working in on this box. Kind of like how I have CTF, tryhackme, and Jenkins. Okay. So I already have it right here. Now, once you download it, you don't have to do anything to the script. You don't have to enter anything on the script. Basically, what this code is going to, what this PowerShell command is going to do, it's going to download the Invoke PowerShell TCP, right? And then it's going to run the Invoke PowerShell TCP. Okay. And when it runs it, you already have it you already have, the tab, reverse, and then tab IP address, and then your IP address, and then port, whatever port you want to have it listen on. That's all you got to do. So when you get to here, just copy this, and it's, so you don't get confused. It says, reverse, and then IP address, and then where it says your IP address, that's where you put your IP address. Okay, where it says port, you put your port. All right, so now that we got that, so as soon as I got here, I was like, okay, so what do I do? What do I look for? And I started just going through all this stuff right here, and I did not hit that, of course. I didn't want to delete the project, but once I got to the configure file, or I guess it's a configure file, not really a file, but when I got into the configuration settings, then that's when everything changed. Okay, and it's going to take a minute to load up, so let's go ahead and come back over here and answer a few questions while that's doing that. Okay, so we can go ahead and complete that part right there by hitting the complete button. And then we can go ahead and let's go ahead and split the screen. All right, we're going to do a split it vertically. And we're going to go ahead and export our own IP. So first we got to do ifconfig. All right, my IP address is this one right here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is export. All right, uppercase IP is equal to 10, 11, 6, 138. All right, let's go ahead and clear that now. Understand, after you type in export and then IP is equal to whatever IP is, if you move to a different terminal, you won't be able to use the export. You have to re-type in export IP is equal to whatever. So let's go ahead and do nc tech lnvp. We got to get a port. Listen in on a port. What was the port that I use? I think it was 9001. No, 9000. 9000. Okay. And we'll go ahead and get that listening on, and then let's see if this thing's loaded up already. It's still loading. All right, so this is going to take a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video real quick. Okay, so the page is finally loaded. Okay, we are in the configure settings. So the moment I came here, I just technically just started scrolling down and seeing anything about uploading maybe some sort of PHP or try to get like a reverse PHP show up on the server, and which I didn't find anything until I saw this right here, execute Windows batch command. So I mean, it even had who am I right here. So I figured, okay, well, that means I can run command code execution on the server. And when I came back, actually, this can exit. Yeah, exit that. So when I came back here, it says you need to download the Powershell script and make it available for the server to download. You can do this by creating a simple HTTP server with using Python 3. This is one way of doing it. Another way to do it is, for example, let's go ahead and split this. No, actually not that way. Let's split this vertically. Okay, so I already have the script saved here, like before, like I showed you guys. It's this one. All right, and so you can do it using Python 3, or you can just do it regular using using Python, tech M, simple, um, H, I don't know why, HTTP server. Make sure you guys capitalize those exact words, and then just the port that you want to use. So we're going to use port 80. All right, and then we'll go back over to here now, and we can just take this script. Just remember that all this is one line, okay? So just remember when you get over here, it's a very important that you copy it as one whole line. And then you can just pretty much go to open up like any editor that you prefer to use, whether if it's LeafPad or I use Sublime Text. I like it better. Okay, and then you just, change the things that need to be changed. Like, first off, you need the server IP address that PowerShell is going to use to download the file. So make sure you put HTTP // your IP address and the port that you're using, as you can see right here on the Python HTTP server that we're using. We're using port 80. It does say that it's using 0.0.0, but it really doesn't matter. You can just use your IP address that you have, your private IP. All right. So, yeah, right here. All right. So make sure you put that there. And then for the reverse connection, put your IP and the port that your netcat is listening on. For example, as you can see right here, I just put port 9000. Okay, you can go ahead and delete this, paste this, all right, and then you want to hit apply, and it's going to show save, and then hit the save button. All right, so now I didn't know exactly what to do, like how to run the command, right? So I just, hit the apply button, figuring that it would do it by itself. Well, you technically have to hit build now. Okay. So once you got that going, hit the build now. And once you hit that, go ahead and As you can see, it's already downloading it, and we are getting our connection. So now we have a shell. Okay, so the first thing we got to do is we need to grab the user flag, which is just a regular user flag. And then we got to, escalate our privileges to be able to get the root flag. So the user flag, we can go ahead and turn that off for right now. The user flag is in the users, was it backslash? All right, users. Oops. I'm still using Linux, but it still works. I don't know how. Okay, so if we type in dir for directory, we can check what users there are. We got Bruce, default app pool, and then public. So we know that the user flag is going to be inside Bruce. So let's go ahead and go on Bruce. And most likely it's going to be on this desktop. So we'll just go ahead and hit the desktop. And then hit directory or dir, and there's the user flag right there. So we can go ahead and type in type, then user.txt, and then there's the flag. Now we just pretty much owned regular user. Now we need to own root. So let's go ahead and enter the flag, and then we can move on to switching shells. Now, if you do get confused or lost, or and you got these little hints right here, they'll give you hints as well. Okay. So, don't be ashamed to use the hints. Okay. All right. So, to make the privilege escalation easier, let's switch to a Meterpreter Shell using the following process. We'll use Venom, MS Venom, to create the, I don't know why the guy spelled it out like, but wrote the sentence like that. Use MSF Venom to create the A windows. It should just be use MSF Venom to create a Windows Meterpreter reverse shell using the following payload. Okay, so you can use this exact command right here. The only thing you got to do is where IP and port is, just enter your IP and the port you want to use, and then whatever name you want to give the payload. Since I already have it written down, I'll give you a quick glance and show you what it looks like. So we're doing MSF Venom, TACP, Windows Meterpreter Reverse TCP. Encoder, we're using Shikata Gane. I think that's how you pronounce it. And then we're doing lhost, which is my IP. Actually, no, it's not my IP. That's from the last time. All right, what's my IP now? 138. 138. All right, there we go. And we are going to name it I killed Batman, since this is a Batman theme. And Bruce is supposedly dead. All right. So go ahead and go here. Make sure everything's good. All right. Okay. Go ahead and run that. Now we'll come back here. Continue reading this. This payload generates a encoded 86, well, pretty much 64-bit reverse TCP interpreter payload. Payloads are usually encoded to ensure that they are transmitted correctly and also to evade antivirus products. An antivirus product may not recognize this payload and won't flag it as malicious. After creating this payload, download it to the machine using the same method in the previous steps. So it's using the same PowerShell command, but a little bit different, as you can see. All right. So if you look right here on this shell that we have, you notice it says PS right here. It stands for PowerShell. So we're pretty much already using a PowerShell terminal. Like if you were to, open up your CMD on your Windows and type in PowerShell, just start a PowerShell terminal or whatever. Okay, so as you can see, the PowerShell command that we're going to be using is this one right here. So I'm going to go ahead, change this around, 138 on port 80, and then we're going to run that same what is it, Python command to start up a server. Okay, and then we can just go ahead and paste, see if this runs. Might take a minute. There we go. As you see, we're getting a 200, which is a good thing. Means that it did upload it. And we can check by doing dir. And as you can see, I code Batman. Now we can go ahead and take this out. We don't need it no more. Just bring up MSF console. Wait for that to load up. All right, so we got MSF console up and running now. Okay, so we're going to use exploit multi-handler, and then we're going to set our payload to Windows Meterpreter. Reverse underscore TCP. I think I spelled Meterpreter wrong. Yeah, I did. Okay, then we're going to set our host to 10. What's our IP again? Let's double check right here. 10, 11, 6. 6, was it 138? Yeah, 138. All right, and then we're going to set our port, and I believe our port was 9001. Let's double check, make sure I'm right. Yep, 9001. Okay. And then we can go ahead and exploit. Oh, damn it. Exploit. You can either use exploit or run. It doesn't matter. It still works. All right, now to get this started, we type in start. Process. I killed Batman. .exe. And we should get our reverse shell in about a couple seconds. Now there's a few things that we got to do. Now we got to pretty much, after doing this, we have to escalate our privileges. using the access, well, pretty much manipulating the or impersonating the tokens. Go ahead and type in sysinfo, make sure it is a Windows. You don't have to do that, but I like doing it just to double check. Here real quick, just double check everything. All right, so this step uses the Meterpreter handler to receive the incoming connection from your reverse shell. Once this is running, enter the command to start the reverse shell, start/process. What is the final size of the exe payload that you generated? Shoot. I don't know, do I have it all the way up here? I don't. That sucks. But let's see. Let's see. Can we do a file? I killed Bruce. Okay, so it doesn't. So what I'm going to have to do is rename it and just reload it because I totally forgot about that part. So what I can do is go ahead and remove the I killed Bruce thing and then just redo this real quick so I can get the size of the file. I forgot. I know there's a command code, a command you can use to check the file size, but I totally forgot it. I mean, it's pretty late right now. Actually, it's right here. Jesus Christ, I could just use this. All right. So we'll just go ahead and paste that. And move on to the next one. All right, so this is where we elevate our privileges. Now that we have initial access, let's use token impersonation to gain system access. Windows uses tokens to ensure that accounts have the right privileges to carry out particular actions. Account tokens are assigned to an account when users log in or are authenticated. This is usually done by the lsass.exe. Think of this as an authentication process. This access tokens consist of users' SIDs, group SIDs, and privileges. Amongst other things, more detailed information can be found here. If you guys want to, you can click on that and read more about it. There are two types of access tokens. I mentioned this earlier. For impersonation tokens, I mentioned this earlier as well. Where the security context is a data structure that contains users' relevant security information, the privileges of an account, which are either given to the account when created or inherited from a group, allows the users to carry out particular actions. Here are the most commonly abused privileges. So if I was you guys, try to keep note of these right here on a sheet or whatever, you know what I mean? So the next time there comes a time where you are going to perform this sort of an attack on an actual machine, you'll know which ones you want to abuse. Okay, and then there's more reading on it right here. So view all the privileges using whoami/priv. We can do that by getting a, try to run the shell thing again. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that again. Because there's something I want to try real quick. Get system. Okay, I'm probably gonna have to load and the up. We can just do help. We can go to list token. Damn it, I actually hit that tokens, tag G. It should give us a list. All right. The one that we want to look for is the bulletin administrators. That's the one that we want to pretty much impersonate. Okay. So let's go ahead and copy that. All right. And then if you hit help again, you can see that we want to do impersonate underscore token. So impersonate underscore token. Make sure you guys use these. All right, and then, all right, so we successfully impersonate user NT authority system. We can now go ahead and check our now before moving on, we're not fully there yet. We still have to impersonate a process, okay, to make it to be able to fully escalate the privileges. So if we type in PS and look for a process like services.exe that's running as that's running as authority system. That's one of the best ones to use. So as you can see, it's right here, services.exe 668 is the PID. So now that we got that, we can migrate to it. Migrate. So just type in migrate, right? 668, and we should migrate to it. All right. Now that we've done that, view all the privileges using whoami/priv. Got that done. You can see that two privileges, cdebug privilege and SC impersonate privileges are enabled. Let's use the incognito module that will allow us to exploit this vulnerability. Enter load incognito, which is not really, we don't do the underscore thing, just type in load incognito to load the incognito module in Metasploit. Please note you may need to use the use incognito command if the previous command doesn't work. Okay, so we're done with that. We did that. To check which tokens are available, enter the list underscore tokens, tag G. We did that. We did the impersonate token for the bulletin, or the built-in, not bulletin. Jeez, I'm tired. Administrators, and we did that. Now, oh wait, my bad. I gotta come back here and just copy one of these right here because that's exactly what it's asking for. All right. It says, what is the output when you run the get UID command? Okay. Even though you have a higher privilege token, you may not actually have the permissions of a privileged user. This is due to the way Windows handles permissions. It uses the primary token of the process and not the impersonated token to determine what the process can or cannot do. Ensure that you migrate to a process with correct permissions above questions answered. The safest process to pick is the service.exe process. First, use the ps command to we did that. And now it's time to get our root flag. So read the root flag file at, I mean, this is, I don't know why you even put that there. That should just been in the hint thing. All right, so we know where the root file is. So what we can do now is, I believe we can use type, or actually to shell, see if this works again. It does. Okay. So we can do type. Just go ahead and paste that. And we'll do the root.txt. And there it is. We've got root, guys. We just rooted it. And we are done. So I hope you guys like this video. Please take notes. If you want to rewatch it, take some notes. I had to do a lot of research on this to learn more about it and how things work and other ways of exploiting it. There's so many different ways to exploit this, especially the Jenkins. There's an actual I believe an exploit for it as well. I have that. I should have used it, but I wanted to make this video the way how tryhackme wants you guys to perform this. So I can show you guys that script real quick. It is this one right here. So you can just use GitHub and look for this one right here for the Jenkins. So yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. If you want to see more videos like this, just let me know. You guys have a great day, and keep on hacking.